As of 2 days ago, I am now officially homeless. We completed on the marital home on Friday, and the most startling thing that I've thought about in the last few days as I'm processing this is that this is the first time, other than possibly a couple of months between houses, it's the first time since I was 19, and I'm 59 now, it's the first time I have been without my own home. I am on the banks of the River Severn, very near its source actually, in mid-Wales. Look how slow moving it is. Not the churning, scary, tidal river it becomes near the estuary, of course. But yeah, look how smooth and slow moving it is. I'm currently on a tour of my homeland in my Roma home, and I deliberately wanted to be away when the house sale completed. Really just to give a bit of perspective. I didn't want to be in my mother's house, which is my temporary home. I just, as I say, wanted to be well away, and I am. The house sale went through, and I guess it's another line in the sand, the final kind of division of our separate ways. Me and my former husband are going completely different directions in life, and obviously wish him very well. But right here, right now, 2 days after the sale happened, I am at a point that could be quite scary. No home of my own. And as I say, it's the first time since the age of 19 that I have not had a home to call my own. I have deliberately chosen this path. I've chosen not to immediately go and buy another house for myself. I've got the money now to do that. I'm ring fencing it, because there probably is going to be a time where I'm going to buy another house. But for now, I've deliberately chosen this liminal phase, this unfettered phase. I have no relationship, romantic I mean. I have my beautiful family, but I have no ties to a relationship, no ties to a home, and all the bills and responsibilities that come with that. I have other responsibilities, of course. I'm not completely responsibility-less, and I wouldn't want to be. But yeah, it's this delicious moment that I want to relish. It's probably the very last time in my life, possibly, that I'm going to be in this fortunate position. And really, it's the first time in my life. This is the bit that feels exciting. The scary bit is homeless, no home. When you fill in forms, it's amazing how complicated it becomes if you're not a homeowner. And I'm not a tenant either. So that's the drawbacks. The positives are, I feel completely limitless at the moment. I've chosen to come away, as I say, in my Roma home. I'm loving the touring, experiencing different towns on the way, kind of exploring, maybe potentially living somewhere else. I've always stayed within 20 miles of my hometown where I was born. I don't know. Honestly, I do not know. And that's why I've not rushed to buy another house. And it was lovely when the sale went through with the solicitors that there was no ongoing purchase and all the responsibilities that come with that. The fearful part of me is thinking, well, now you're out of the housing ladder, house prices are going to go up, there's inflation, and your money is not going to keep up. And there could come a point where I'm kind of priced out the market. Yeah, that's a possibility. And that's the way I've kind of been brought up, that idea, the fear of property ownership. And I get, some of you in the comments have said, it's beautiful to have your own home, your own key, and I totally get that. I really do. And I'm not saying I'm forever going to be homeless. I guess it's just taking the time to get used to the idea, to make a decision. I've always been between house moves. The decision's been out of my hands because my children have been in schools, my mother needed care, I've been married. Obviously you limit your choices when you're in a partnership with someone. So this is the first time that it is really my decision with everything, and I'm really wanting to hold on to this moment. And that's why I chose to be away, to fully embrace this liminality. Again, surrounded by beautiful trees, it's cool at this time of day, and my biggest decision today is where to go next. Society trains us here, in the UK perhaps more than anywhere else, that owning a home is an adult priority, and that you tie yourself to a job, a career, and you just keep on the treadmill. And that's pretty much what I've done all my life. And yes, it's brought me advantages. The equity I currently have now is from all those years of working, managing childcare to do the job, paying the bills. And yes, it's brought me here to the fact that I could buy myself another house. I know not everyone is in that position. And in Europe, a lot of people, I think the majority, anybody from Europe watching this, correct me if I'm wrong, the norm is to rent your home. And that's another thing. That's something I'm nervous of in the future, of renting, because I suppose another fear is that if you rent a home, you're at the mercy of a landlord, unscrupulous. And I know there's more laws to protect tenants now, but what if they put the rent up? What if the service charges keep going up? That the asset isn't yours, the money's not growing? That's a very real fear. Similarly, buying land, going off grid. I love watching people who do that, who live in vans. And I suppose in a certain extent I'm dabbling my toe in that now. Buying land is an option, but buying land doesn't give you the right to live the way you want to on it here in the UK. There's so many hoops to go through. Planning, regulations. So off-grid living here in the UK isn't so easy. In Wales, oddly enough, there is something in, I don't know if it's law, but there is a way that you can buy land to live off-grid. However, it does come with a whole lot of commitments, and not everyone's able to do it. You have to grow a vast proportion of your own food. Lots of other things as well. I suppose van life is an option, but again, as you get older, it's great now, I love doing it now, but as you get older, then it's the worry of always finding somewhere to park. As I say, you buy a bit of land, but you can't just park a van on it and live on that either. There is the possibility of moving somewhere to Europe, but with Brexit now, that isn't quite so easy. But there are avenues to explore, and I've said before about my love of Central Europe. So yes, delicious decisions, delicious freedom. And you're on the journey with me. I'm telling you pretty much every step of the way what's happening. been separated 6 months, Christmas 2025. I moved into my mother's house, which was vacant. And yeah, 6 months later, we've sold the house and that deed is done, which is a big relief, I must say. Once you get into that buying cycle, buying, selling cycle with solicitors, it just seems an endless process. And what should have been quite straightforward, there wasn't a chain either side. You'd think, well, that's going to be really quick. And it just wasn't. Oh, I just love this. I've been to this town before, but I'm exploring different sides of it at the moment. Weather so beautiful. Really feeling on top of the world. There's like little beach areas all the way up the river. Yesterday was boiling hot, so me and Teddy came down here, brought my camping chair, and we just sat here all day under the trees. And it was so gorgeous. I could hear people in the river. People were walking past saying, you should go in the river up there, it's lovely. Love this part of the world. And that's an option. I could buy a house here. I just feel in my gut, and I've talked about this before, trusting your gut and your intuition, and sometimes things seem counterintuitive the way they happen. But I do believe it works out the way it should in the end. Even relationships. Babbling River Severn. So what's next, I wonder? My gut is telling me not to buy a house right now, not to commit to anything, to be liminal, the word I love, to be fluid, to be agile, all the aspects of life that I value right now. As I said, it's the first time in my life I've had the luxury of having that. The freedom to wait. And yes, totally embracing it. I'm going to go home in a few days' time. I've got my grandson's graduation from nursery, and I really want to be there to see that. I love to go home and see all my family, and of course my mum. And then I will have another opportunity to come away again, and just how brilliant. I love going to these different towns and just being part of it just for a few days. And because a lot of the towns I'm staying in are quite van friendly, I've found myself chatting to other people who are in vans, and it's just passing the time of day really. But it's just that connection. I don't particularly want long conversations or everlasting friendships, anything like that. It's just an example. I woke up yesterday morning, parked in this car park where I am, and I woke in the night. I'm sleeping so well, honestly, unbelievable. And in the night I heard some rowdy youths, shall we say. They weren't far from my van, but I wasn't worried. I always feel quite safe and cocooned when I'm in my van. And I knew there were other vans parked around me as well. But I just woke up, went straight back to sleep. And in the morning, a lady in a couple of vans down from me came past. She said, oh, we were worried about you last night. Are you okay? And I went, oh, no, I'm fine. Absolutely. Thank you for thinking of me. She said, oh, it was a couple of youths. They were drunk. And I just thought, there's people who look out for each other. It's so lovely. And just locals here. Just been for a walk with Teddy, and people stop and chat, and they're just you just get a vibe about a place, don't you? I've been to other places where I think, oh God, I can't wait to get away. People aren't very nice. But, the towns I'm stopping in are, yeah, just really, really good. And I think that's the contrast I feel, even as fortunate as I feel and very grateful to have Mum's house to stay in for now until I need to sell it. When I'm there, I'm grateful for the space, and it's lovely and perfect for me, really. I feel I'm maintaining it, maintaining and curating my mother's possessions, sorting and tidying. There was a lot to be done. Hopefully to increase the value of the house so that she gets the maximum for it when it comes to sell. I always think when you leave houses empty, and this was my worry before I knew what was going to happen, the worry of when you leave a house empty, they deteriorate so rapidly in the winter when you're not heating, you're not airing them. So the fact I'm living there is helping as well for the house. But I feel in that house there's emotional weight, and I just feel it viscerally when I'm there. There's so many. It wasn't my childhood home. My parents moved there when they were getting quite elderly, but they've been there 20 plus years. There's a lot of things, furniture, knickknacks, photos that are very happy memories from my childhood, but a lot of emotional weight. Mentioned I lost my sister a few years ago. There's a lot of sadness around me in the house. The last few years caring for Mum have been just, well, I can't quite put it into words, but it's not been a pleasant time. Traumatic for everybody. So there's a lot of emotion tied up in it. And I feel the heaviness when I go back. As grateful as I am and as lucky as I feel it, there is this weight. And I feel it. I can't describe it. I just feel this heaviness when I'm there. And then that's why I love to come away, just for breaks here and there, away in the van. And that restores me again. And for now, example, these last few days, the being away deliberately because I knew that big event was happening and I didn't want to be around. I moved all of my possessions out months ago, so there was nothing of me left in that house at all. It's strange, houses, over the years I've had a lot of houses. Some have been shared with partners, others have been my own. And I have an emotional connection with houses, cars that are the same. And some of the houses, my most happiest homes, when I've sold those and it comes the day I'm leaving, I literally have to go around every room, photograph the room, say thank you to the house for holding me, for supporting me. And partners' houses, when there's been a separation involved, another emotional wrench. And then there's been other houses in my life, one or two actually, that have been not the same connection. And that I'm almost glad to be leaving. This house, we haven't been in that long. It was, I think, 5 years. And because I've not been there for the last 6 months, and because of other situations and things, I disconnected from that house a long time ago. So it wasn't the same, the sale of the emotional thing. It was, this is a line in the sand moment, and we both get our freedoms back to do whatever we wish with. I could stay here all day. Tempted to move on to another town, but I didn't sit here yesterday. This is like my own private beach. Might well do that. It's very tempting. Isn't it lovely? Just not having to make a decision. I was here yesterday and I was sitting, as I said, in this meadow under the trees with Teddy, and somebody walked past and said, oh, it's the carnival today. And sure enough, within a few hours, all these lorries were turning up with dressed up, people on floats, and it just took me back to childhood. This was such a thing in the 70s and 80s when I was much younger. My town, village I lived in would have a carnival with the floats, feeling a celebration, and this town felt like that yesterday. It felt just connection everywhere. That's how I'm feeling at the moment. Little connections, little conversations, people caring about each other. I think when you're in a bricks and mortar house, and as I said, the house I'm in, my mum's house, there is the emotional weight. It's surprising if you open yourself up to it, how your feelings and emotions are influenced by your surroundings. So my plan is, well, I'm documenting it, but I don't really have a plan at the moment. My plan is to be planless for now. To take my time to decide where I want to base myself next. To give myself permission to not make a decision based on social norms. Buy a house, buy a house. Tie yourself up to the grid again, the bills. Sounds very radical, sounds very idealistic. But it's something I can dive back into another time. Whatever I do, I know I have to have the means while I'm in my go-go years. I love that phrase. While I'm in my go-go years, this early retirement years, I want the means to always be able to come away in a van. It's not the same as staying in hotels or Airbnbs. I love staying in Airbnbs and guest houses and other places. I love that. But honestly, having my van, it's absolutely so perfect. The number of people who've wanted to see inside, and there was a lady this morning, she walked past going, "Oh dear," she said. And I said, "I got everything I need in here, honestly, I do." The fridge isn't being too efficient at the moment because it's so hot. It's running on gas and it's, not the most efficient at the moment, but everything else is so perfect. So I know I'll want that in my life as long as I can be fit enough to go away and explore. That's a massive, aside from my family, that's probably the biggest essential in my life, is to have that ability to just take off and tour in my own vehicle, be able to sleep in my own vehicle, to decide, within reason, just look at the area around me. So I leave you with that thought today. I wonder if any of you are going through a similar thing or feel that emotional connection to where you live. Anyone feeling they want to break out? I know there are, because there's lots of you in the comments want to break out of the matrix, as we call it. This buy a house, get a job, pay the bills, endless cycle. Then if you're lucky enough at the age of 67, for now, that's probably not going to remain the case. You may be lucky enough to be able to take a couple of years off work, probably burnt out. It's taken me years to fully enjoy being retired. There was unusual circumstances when I left work. Not just the act of leaving work, there was the illness, the caring responsibilities, COVID. It's just, honestly, it's been years for me to do this, relax and enjoy, appreciate. So yes, anybody else I know in the comments you want to break out of the system. My hope is that in the future, younger people can make different choices to maybe the choices the majority of us in my generation have made. Go to school. Whether you're a learner or not, sit in your chair and pass your exams. I do think younger people today are more open to vacations, doing things they're passionate about, and I believe that is absolutely key. To not have a job you hate. I mean, jobs probably you're not going to love every single day. There'll be challenges in every job, and that's how you grow, same as in life. Difficult situations that need to be overcome. But at least a job that means something. I hope that's my hope for the future, that more people can get to know what their passions are, what their talents are. I think so much is brushed out in the current system. I think this is probably fodder for another video. This video is about, just making a decision not to be tied for now, fully embracing it. I'll see you on the next video.